coming up on the Paper Talk today, was yesterday good enough? Was it poor or was it acceptable because the performance is okay? Lots of debate going on between some United legends. We'll be getting into all that. Also, what is happening with Manchester United's goalkeeping situation? Are we going to buy a new goalkeeper, or does the manager trust the goalkeepers he's got? Let's get into it. Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and the weather is pretty mild. Loads of stories to get through this morning. Before we do, though, make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Let's get to 820,000 subscribers with your support. We will get there. Most of the stories this morning focusing on yesterday's defeat to Arsenal. 1-0 defeat to the Gunners. Obviously, a deflating result, but the performance was actually an improvement on what we've seen over the last year or so from Manchester United, and there were a lot of positives, and that seems to have caused a little bit of a discussion, debate, argument, if you will, among some ex-United players, some United legends, and even maybe many in the United fan base. So we'll get into that. We'll also get into some transfer news as well, of course. Now, Manchester United obviously losing 1-0, not what you want to see, but we saw a lot of decent performances yesterday. I think Brian and Mbumo, Mateus Cunha had, was it 9 shots between them? Very positive. I was particularly impressed with both of them, to be honest with you. I don't even want to single either of them out, but you could see the energy was there, you could see the directness, you could see the skill was there, and it was, you get the feeling that those two are absolutely going to cook, as the kids say. Also, Mason Mount. Where have you been all my life? I thought that was Mason Mount's best performance in a United shirt. I know he got the 2 goals against Athletic Club, but I thought he was fantastic yesterday, especially in that first half. And if he carries on performing like that, he'll be a very good option for Ruben Amorim. There was lots of other players as well who did well. Ahmad did well when he came on. Patrick Dorgu did well. So there are reasons to sort of say, look, Manchester United look like the signings we've made have been good ones. We look like we're moving in the right direction. And even though we did get that defeat, it was against an Arsenal side. We're going to be there or thereabouts come the end of the season. So maybe we don't need to be too negative. However, not everyone agrees. Roy Keane, in his post-match analysis, was saying about expectations are so low. Manchester United lose 1-0. Sorry, I wish we did win. Lose 1-0. And he mentioned Gary Neville is sort of being okay with that. And now, I get where Roy Keane's coming from, where, you know, you lose 1-0 to Arsenal, everyone seems to be okay with it. Why has that sort of become accepted? And I think there was a tweet from our mate Alexei who said, you know, it's 1 win in 7 Premier League games at Old Trafford, and again, everyone seems okay with it. I feel like I'm going mad. However, not to play devil's advocate here, but let's look at it. 2 things can be true. Yes, expectations are a bit low, but we've just finished 15th. Expectations have been altered this season. I'll tell you why. Because going into this season, most United fans I've spoken to, and by all means, get involved in the chat in the comments if you feel differently, were saying to me, look, you know, if we finish 6th, that's all right. I'd be okay with that. That's an improvement. That's moving in the right direction. That's European football. Can you ever remember, realistically, in the Premier League era, when you've gone into a season thinking finishing 6th would be okay? Managers have been sacked for finishing 5th and winning an FA Cup. Finishing 6th is usually enough to lose your job as Manchester United manager. Yet, going into this season, people are saying, you know what, if we finish 6th, that'd be all right. And I get it, because we've just finished 15th. We're in a rebuild. It's a new manager. I know he came in last season, but he's still relatively new. We've adapted a new system. We've got a big overhaul going on. All these new signings need to be integrated. We get it. We've had changes at the top as well in terms of the hierarchy. It is a process. So a lot of people are looking at it and going, okay, it isn't going to be, you know, we'll go from 15th to 1st. I know there's some people that said that. We are going to have to sort of make these sort of incremental steps, if you will, these baby steps forward. And it feels like from the performance, we did see that. So I understand why people may be going, well, expectations are a bit low, but they've been lowered for a reason. And I think when you look at that performance, and I look at the players and what they did yesterday, there are reasons to be cheerful. It's not beyond reproach. There's some criticisms there. I think that maybe there's 1 or 2 players, Manuel Ugarte in particular didn't do well when he came on. Maybe the man needs to look at what his midfield combination is going to be. Should Ahmad have come on sooner? Should he have started? There's question marks there. And there's also the goalkeeper. Now, Bayern was at fault for the goal. Let's not sugarcoat it. And I've defended Bayern before in the past. But when that goal went in, my instinct was the keeper's got to do better. And I've not changed my mind after seeing those replays. However, the manager defended him. The manager stuck up for him. Ruben Amorim was quite vocal in his post-match press conference when he was pressed on Bayern, whether he was pressed on whether Tom Heaton could end up starting for Manchester United. He said that Bayern, he sort of defended him. The way he was talking about it was the sort of situation with whether the people are in his way, whether it's a foul, VAR, or the rest of it, because he was asked about the Spurs game when the corner went straight in. I think it was Heung-min Son in the Carabao Cup last season. So he was sticking up for the goalkeeper, and he seemed quite animated and almost angry, Ruben Amorim, for him anyway. Not angry for most people, but little bit peeved, shall we say, Ruben Amorim, because he doesn't tend to do the sort of the explosive, angry press conferences, but that was as close as I've seen him get to actually being a bit annoyed with the question or being a bit annoyed with the insinuation that the goalkeeper wasn't good enough, and he defended Ali Bayandeh. Now, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Andre Onana. There was rumours on reports yesterday, I think, that from Andre Onana's camp that they feel quite confident that he will be back in the side, that there's not an issue there. The manager was saying that it wasn't necessarily an injury thing. It was to try to give the goalkeepers and the team a chance that had done well in pre-season. So we'll have to wait and see how this all pans out. Is this going to force Ruben Amorim's hand a little bit? Is he going to feel the need to sort of pick Bayandeh again to make it look as though he's not just bowing to pressure? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. He might just have already decided that Andre Onana is going to come back into the team. He might have decided he wants to stick with Ali Bayandeh. We'll find out for the Fulham game. But there's obviously an issue there with goalkeeper. I think if Ruben Amorim was 100% confident in Andre Onana would have started yesterday. That's my thinking on it. Get involved in the chat in the comments and let us know what you think. Also, let us know what you think about the expectations being lowered, about who is right. Is Roy Keane right when he says the expectations are so low? Or does he have a point that, yes, the expectations have been lowered? Is Gary Neville right to be saying that, you know what, the performance was something to be positive about, that everyone's okay with things because of the performance was much better, because so many players who I've mentioned, the likes of Dorgu, the likes of Mbeumo, the likes of Cunha, the likes of Ahmad, all did really well when they came on or when they started. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments because I'm interested to hear your thoughts. In terms of transfers, it doesn't look like there's anything in this idea that Manchester United are going to go out and buy a goalkeeper. A lot of people post-match yesterday were going, we need a goalkeeper. That's it. We need to go out and buy a goalkeeper. I can't see anything. I've been trawling through the newspapers that makes me think Manchester United are in the market for a goalkeeper or are going to go out and buy a goalkeeper. Obviously, over the last few weeks, we've been linked with Gianluigi Donnarumma. Doesn't seem like he's going to come to Old Trafford. Looks like Manchester City are in for him. I've got no reason to expect Donnarumma to come to Manchester United whatsoever. Another player that's not going to be coming to Manchester United this summer, it seems, is Carlos Baleba. However, there are still reports and stories doing the rounds that he could be that United are reviving their interest. I think the Evening Standard had a story saying that United revived their interest in Carlos Baleba. I can't see evidence for that anywhere else, and I don't believe it. It was pretty unequivocal, wasn't it? Or unequivocal, whatever the adamant one is, that he will not be coming to Manchester United this summer, that Brighton are not interested in selling him. Ornstein said that, then people were digging out old Ornstein tweets where he said Manuel Ugarte wasn't coming to Old Trafford, and obviously Manuel Ugarte did come to Old Trafford. However, I feel like some of us are acting like that sort of jilted lover, like the one who sort of, you know, stood in the garden of their ex-girlfriend playing Fight for This Love by Sheryl Crow, saying, come on, we can still make this work. It ain't going to happen this summer. It might happen, not Sheryl Crow, is it? It's Sheryl Cole, thank you. It can still happen next summer. I don't think it'll happen this summer, though. So I think we need to move on. Are we going to move on and bring in a new midfielder? I'm not so sure. As always, we'll keep you posted. If you want to see a new midfielder coming into Old Trafford, let me know. How do United do this? If we're going to get Baleba next season, can we go out this summer and spend big on a midfielder, or do we need to get a stopgap? If we do need to get a stopgap, who is that going to be? Because most of the names that have been bandied around are going to be expensive. Some people saying Adam Wharton. However, there's been stories this morning that Adam Wharton isn't a realistic target for Manchester United, and nor should he be if we're going to get Carlos Baleba long term. I don't see how you make both of those signings happen. You may say, well, that's your future midfield. I understand that, but have United got the money for Adam Wharton if we can't get Carlos Baleba? Maybe. I doubt it. It seems wishful thinking to me. I think we need to face facts. We're not going to get a big signing in this summer in terms of a midfielder. We have brought in some players, obviously. Maybe we get a stopgap. I don't know who that stopgap's going to be. Let me know what you think. Looks like we might just have to deal with what we've got. However, there are still, 2 weeks left of the transfer window to do? So maybe Manchester United do some last-minute moves. I mean, we always seem to do some last-minute moves, don't we, in the transfer window, whether that's a loan signing, whether it's a free signing, whether it's some sort of youngster coming in. There's always some sort of shenanigans going on late in the transfer window for Manchester United, so maybe that happens this time around. In the meantime, though, we're going to keep you covered on all the latest Manchester United news and keep you updated. We have got the Paddock podcast coming up later on today. We've also got Uncensored with Adam McCullough and Joe Smith, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that. Yes, Manchester United lost yesterday. Yes, I hate losing to Arsenal, but yes, it was a positive performance, and hopefully we can build on that and start getting some good results, because come on, man, especially at Old Trafford, we need to start picking up some points, don't we? Anyway, I know the season only started, but following on from last season, you know what I'm on about. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you hit like, share and subscribe. I'm Jay Moyer. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.